What's up you guys, Josh Tonga here, and since the release of my videos on out-of-body experiences and astral projection, it's just been so interesting to see on how my viewers who've been following me for years, by the way, are really divided on this topic. So the big question I want to address today is astral projection dangerous? Or to put it another way, are self-initiated out-of-body experiences dangerous or evil? One of the big problems that I notice is that there's a lot of fear about this subject. Because sometimes there's not really a clear understanding of what it's all about or how it can work. Because there are a lot of assumptions out there that people have where they only associate this stuff with New Age, whatever that means, or the occult, or demons, etc. The other day someone asked me how to overcome the fear of this subject, and I simply replied by saying, knowledge. Be informed. Gain a better understanding of something first before dismissing it completely or just rejecting it based on hearsay. Because it'll help clear up a lot of the bad and fear-based misinformation that goes on out there. But let me tell you how common OBEs are and why you probably shouldn't be too hard on the idea of astral projecting. Because the truth is, it's natural for us to leave our bodies while we sleep. But the thing is, people just aren't usually aware of it, while there are some people who have the ability to remain aware and be conscious throughout the experience. In other words, it's something very natural and shouldn't be labeled as some sort of demonic practice or even New Age, but rather like a possible human experience. Especially because you'll definitely have at least one conscious out-of-body experience in your life, which is called death. And if you were to learn this stuff now, you can prepare for, which can be extremely valuable. So it's in this sense that I'm referring to where astral projection is where you're able to lift up out of your body, yet remain aware. Or sometimes being conscious that you're in a real different place other than where you are now, experiencing events which are taking place beyond the body. Okay, so is this practice dangerous? When you really think about it, there are a lot of things that are potentially dangerous in life, right? Like what? Walking around a new neighborhood, driving a car, flying a plane, traveling to different countries, meeting and communicating with new people. These things are a part of life. But there's a possibility of getting into a car or plane accident, meeting what you would call negative people, being deceived and lied to by a stranger, or receiving false information, or even being backstabbed by someone you've trusted. But we don't go around warning people that just because these things can happen or because you've had a bad experience that we should avoid life altogether, right? Of course not. And I know there are stories of people with testimonies, talking about how they came from New Age to Jesus. And by the way, calling this up New Age is already a mistake because it's not. Folks, don't forget about confirmation bias. Because trust me, I can tell you countless stories of people on the other side who have left Christianity and became something else, saying that Christianity or religion mess up their lives. So should everyone stay away from Christianity or religion? Some say yes, some say no. So should everyone stay away from learning about astral projection? Some say yes, some say no. Okay, so let's talk about it. But I don't want to go the route saying, you better listen to me, I must be right because I have more stories on my side than you do. Because it's not about that. Sure, consider what other people have to say, but ultimately it's about discovering and sorting out the truth for yourself. Hearing some of the responses to my videos, some people are extremely terrified of the idea of leaving their body. And in a sense, I get it. But believe it or not, there are other people out there who would find that experience extremely profound because then they know for sure that they are more than their body. But some people have these fears that once they leave their body, they're going to see demons or get possessed or not be able to come back to their body or even die while astral projecting. And that's where I think Hollywood and a lot of horror movies out there kind of give this stuff a bad name, because then people only start associating this stuff with darkness or the occult. But some critic might say, but Josh, I did have a bad experience with this. Okay, but here's what you got to remember, which is extremely, extremely important. And it's this: what's in your mind? Because your beliefs matter. Your beliefs matter. Not just in your conscious mind, but especially in your subconscious mind, especially your fears. Just think about the power of our thoughts here. To Christians, why is it that you'll find what you might call demons manifesting and possessing people at church services that are more focused on the devil and spiritual warfare, but you won't find a lot of that stuff happening at the more conservative churches? Why? Because what you believe and focus on and put a lot of energy into, you can create. Now based upon my own out-of-body experiences, I've come to see firsthand the power of our thoughts. That especially in these higher realms that you can go to, they're very, what you would call thought responsive, meaning that things can manifest instantly. For example, you think of a place, boom, you're there. Or you think of an object, boom, it appears. Where focus, intent, and emotion accelerates things. In other words, as vibrational beings, if our thoughts have that much force and power to them here, imagine the types of experiences we're going to have out of the body if you're going to come at this stuff with a lot of negativity and fear, which is why I would caution some of you guys out there not to do this. So if we have a positive or neutral mindset, we can create positive or neutral experiences. But if we have a negative or fearful mindset, what are we going to create? Of course, negative experiences. This might be the reason why there's religious people who grew up with fear-based doctrines and unfortunately believe them, who tend to have these hellish experiences where their feelings and their fears are mirrored and reflected in their environment, where their subconscious expectations are being projected into these experiences. And a common problem that I find is that after these hellish experiences, some of them think this is a one-size-fits-all deal, believing that this is the way it's going to be for everyone who doesn't believe in their particular religion. And then on the other side, there's a lot of New Agers and other people who probably had one very positive OBE, making the same mistake, thinking that whatever they experience is what everyone else is going to experience too, no matter how many screwed up evil things a person's done in his or her lifetime. But based upon the many OBE accounts that I've read, that as for us as multidimensional beings, living in a multidimensional universe, there's going to be as many different experiences and realities as there are people. But then again, reality is reality. These are actual places that we can go to. Yet, sometimes we may project things into the experience because of our subconscious mind. So it's kind of a mixture. And I'll probably talk about this more in the future. But because of our different states of consciousness, we set certain energies in motion, which is why the choices that we make here and now matter. And why being awakened to love and pure consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is so stinking important. Now, I've had people tell me that they've had something called sleep paralysis, where they're unable to move, and sometimes they'll see these dark, shadowy figures in their room, and I don't deny those things. But remember, perception plays a huge role. The perception and the negative stories that we create in our head can actually make the experience worse than what it really is. What do I mean? For example, sometimes people with sleep paralysis will start feeling these vibrations kind of going throughout their body, and then they start panicking. And if you're a Christian, maybe you've tried rebuking it in Jesus' name, thinking it's some sort of demonic attack, and sometimes it still doesn't stop. But here's the thing, folks, we shouldn't be afraid of not being able to move. It's normal. It happens whenever our bodies go to sleep, or else you'd be physically acting out your dreams and possibly hurting yourself. But in these moments of sleep paralysis, you're between stages of wakefulness and sleep, where your mind is awake but your body is unable to move, which can be scary because you're probably wondering what the hell is going on. So if you ever have sleep paralysis again, and you start feeling these vibrations on your body, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's often a prelude to an OBE. You just gotta relax and just shift your awareness to where you want to go. You see, a shift in our perception can really affect the entire experience, folks. You know, the other day I heard a story of a guy who's now a medium, who says that when he was a kid, he woke up in the middle of the night and saw what looked like two people walking in his bedroom. And he was wondering, you know, what's going on here? Because they were like 3 feet from his bed. They realized that he was watching them, and then one of them turned to him, looked them right in the eyes, screamed, and ran right to him. So for literally 13 years, he slept with the covers over his head because he was so stinking scared of something attacking him. Then in his teenage years, he finally managed not to have to sleep with the covers over his head anymore. But one day he was listening to music with his headphones on without really realizing that it was putting him in like a deep meditative state. And then when the cassette tape ended, he flipped it over, and then he opened his eyes, and what did he see? He saw several people standing around his bed. Freaked him out, slept with the covers over his head for over a week, and then he thought, okay, I either imagined this or there were really people there, but if they wanted to scare me, they've had a whole week to do it, whether or not I had the covers over my head. So he did a little experiment, and he actually put himself in that same scenario where he ended up in that deep meditative state again. Then he opened up his eyes, and there they were again. And then he tensed up, and then one of them put their hand on his wrist, and he said it felt like putting his finger inside of a light socket, and then said to him, "Don't be afraid. We're not here to hurt you." And that was his introduction to what many people would call spirit guides. So what if you were to see some sort of ghostly figure standing by your bed? Okay, for some of you, scary. You might think it's some sort of demon. Or what if, without having to think so negative all the time, it might be a deceased person or even possibly a spirit guide. You know, kind of like what Christians would call like a guardian angel. So trying not to judge things too quickly or always in like a negative way. You know, people often ask me if I see and meet other entities during these out-of-body experiences. And my answer is yes, of course. I see them, I hear them. You can talk to them like how we interact with people here. But then I've heard people say, no, it's really Satan disguising himself, you know, as an angel of light. In other words, all these entities that you meet on these other planes of reality are a bunch of liars. Folks, once again, why so much fear? Why so much fear? And in all the OBEs that I've had, I've never had a bad experience with these entities on these other planes. I've never been injured there or even coming back to my physical body. Now, that's not to say that other people who've had OBEs have never had any bad experiences or met any what they may perceive to be mischievous or negative entities. But from what I've discovered is that ultimately, what truly harms us are our own fears, you guys. Our own fears. The negativity that we bring with us, because we tend to attract what we put out vibrationally. But let's just say you do encounter what you perceive to be a negative entity. What can you do? Do whatever you need to do to remove the fear. So for some of you, it might be prayer, or maybe visualizing this white light of protection around you, kind of like an energy field, or calling upon God or a spirit guide, or even sending love to these other beings. Or it's even as simple as thinking about something positive and then moving yourself to a higher vibrational reality. Remember, we are powerful, multi-dimensional beings. So don't let any of these irrational fears keep you from experiencing some of the amazing benefits of out-of-body exploration that I mentioned in my previous video. We all learn from life, and out-of-body exploration can be a part of life because it's part of reality. It's part of the human experience. So to summarize, is astral projection or self-initiated OBEs dangerous? Once again, if we attract and manifest things from within, where like attracts like, then I'd caution those of you who are extremely fearful or negative or emotionally unstable. It's probably not a good idea, I really mean that. But if you consider yourself to be a pretty positive and let's just say a loving person, and if you have the desire, then why not go where others aren't willing to go? Because once you get over the fear, it's like this whole new dimension is opened up. And then you're able to explore this vast universe freely. This can sound like science fiction, but folks, this stuff's legit. You know what I'm saying? It's a trip. Alrighty guys, I hope this cleared up some misconceptions and gave you something to think about. I'm doing my best to inform you guys because this is a big part of my journey. If you have any questions or stories, include them in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like or give it a thumbs up, and please share this video with your friends. More's coming. Love you guys. I'm outie. Peace.